Welcome everyone to Steve Savant's Money, the name of the game. I'm your host, Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and money color commentator. On today's show, a case study on Index Universal Life in a profit sharing plan. Part 2 in our series on tax advantage income investing with indices with nationally recognized retirement expert and certified financial planner, Chris Jacob. Welcome to the second segment, Chris.
Thanks. I guess this is the rest of the story, so to speak.
Well, yeah, I mean, you set us up. First of all, people are probably stunned. Hey, can I use life insurance in a qualified plan?
The answer is yes, but it's also the attorney answer, it depends. So we just went through, I got to have a qualified plan. It's got to be structured properly to own the life insurance. And ideally, I'm using those season money concept rules.
Now, the reason we're even thinking this way is we're trying to rescue about 40% of our qualified retirement monies from taxation. That's kind of our goal. We can't do it completely, but we can eliminate a lot of it.
Yeah, I mean, life insurance is, if you will, the alchemy that turns what would otherwise be ordinary income tax, or at least a large part of it, into tax-free, which is a good thing.
Okay.
So let's look. We got Tom James. He's 55. In all of his qualified plans, he currently has $1 million. Qualified plans, meaning it's pre-tax money. It's never been taxed before. Let's just talk about the impact of just leave it alone, no further contributions. He's 55. We'll assume, like we've had in previous examples, that gets a 6% rate of return, not guaranteed. And if he did that, by the time he's 65, he would have almost $1.9 million in there. So let's see what the tax consequences are on that $1.9 million at retirement. Well, if we just do a solve for, assuming the 6% crediting go forward, a solve for a level distribution that will deplete the account balance by age 90, what is that? Well, that's $140,000 a year, which will give us a zero balance by 90. Along with that, though, that was pre-tax money, which means Uncle Sam wants his pound of flesh, in this case 30%, we'll assume, as the effective tax bracket. So in total, he's going to have $1 million in taxes to be paid in this thing, as it is.
Now, what was his original number? Total all-in contributions?
He had $500,000 in his qualified plan at age 55.
That he contributed. And
yes.
You're telling me now I got twice that much in taxes due.
That he contributed plus growth, so he contributed something substantially less than that, so he's got twice that amount due in taxes embedded in that current plan as it stands now.
It's not bad enough that I have Uncle Sam as my partner. You're telling me it's twice the amount that I actually originally put in.
Tough but fair.
Well, okay.
As they say. So let's look at integrating this plan with life insurance using what we would call the pension optimization plan. So we're just going to focus only exclusively on these retirement plan assets of $1 million. Yes, indeed, he does have other assets in his estate. But if we look at that million, and let's just solve for it, say, starting at 66, he wants $105,000 net after tax. Level distribution coming from this. How would that play out numbers-wise? Well, as you can see, this red block over here, that means that's the point at which he's out of money. So, Steve, we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. We'll say he's in a 40% bracket now, that he's actually going to go down to 30 when he's in retirement. Typically doesn't happen because of deduction, reduction. People lose mortgage deductibility. They lose the fact that the kids are no longer around. Hopefully they're no longer around. So in a 30% bracket, in order to net 105, he'd have to pull 150. True? Well, by the time if he dies on time, it'll work out okay. But by age 81,
let's just make sure we understand this, because the 150 is pulling his plan taxable. It's paying his taxes. The 105 we're pulling out is actually coming tax-free from the life insurance contract.
No, not yet. This 150 is, he's pulling it pre-tax. The government's going to take their share, and they're going to get 105. So this is kind of the status quo if he doesn't implement it.
Okay.
So this is the don't do it version. So there's the 150 coming out. There's the 105 in pocket. And if he and his wife were to die while it's in there, there's income with respect to a decedent. This is what the heirs would get net after tax. This is the pension optimization plan where fact pattern's the same. Notice, though, we've got this kind of odd death benefit number of $3,492,989. What's that there for? Well, in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to employ a life insurance policy owned by a profit-sharing plan funded to the tune of about $220,000 a year for 5 years. Now, we want to get that policy out of the profit-sharing plan, and when we do, the fair market value for tax purposes is going to be that $816,000. of which that will come with a tax of, at 50%, $408,000. As you can see, we're going to borrow that money against the value of the policy to pay that tax, and then we're going to turn on the income stream at 66 of $105,000
And the contract can do both. It can pay this transfer tax and provide the lifetime income.
It's doing some pretty heavy lifting, but these newer type policies are structured to be able to perform amazingly so as an income stream. And that's actually going to go all the way out to age 120. So here's the graphic on that, how much was funded, how much was pulled. But in addition now to my 105, I need that to fund the policy, I need that to pay the tax, and as we just saw, I got this newfound source of income coming as loans against the policy. So you notice here there's no red. It gives me what I need for what we'll call dedicated cash flow, and then it gives me my 105 for my spendable cash flow. So inside of our profit sharing plan, you can see pre-tax, we're funding these premiums. Now, Steve, there is something, we're not going to get into it, we don't have a bunch of time here, but there is something the government recognizes you're being relieved of the direct economic burden of paying for these life insurance premiums with after-tax dollars. So there is an imputed economic benefit, reportable economic benefit, that while the policy's in the profit sharing plan, you are picking up an imputed economic benefit of, let's just say, I have to report as other income $15,000 a year, okay? So now my net worth consists of the cash value net of the loan, plus for the few years that I still have money in my qualified plan prior to it going into the life insurance policy, which there would be a little bit of tax there for those few years. After that, my heirs are basically going to get the death benefit from the policy, net of all the loans I've been taking. Graphically, this is all the numbers that back this up. So if you're the validator, there's all the spreadsheets. If you're just more of the show me plan 1 versus plan 2, net worth a little less in the beginning because there is some surrender charges in the life insurance, but we're talking about income being the outcome here, folks. And the don't do it gives me $1.6 million of spendable income in my pocket after taxes. The do it, almost $2 million more. And as opposed to my net worth cratering, I still got $3 million left at age 100. How did my heirs fare? Well, they didn't do too bad either. There was a short period of time where they got a little less. And see that significant drop-off on the death benefit on the insurance? Why is that? Because once we start taking income, we're going to reduce that to the government allowable limit as a minimum death benefit in order to still qualify for tax-favored treatment. I still got $2 million more. Heirs wind up with a lot more. So here it is, spendable cash flow, do it versus don't do it. Out of income by age 81, never out under plan 2. Net worth, a little less in the beginning, substantially more, and at life expectancy, which is the yellow line, their joint life expectancy, nothing versus $1.6 million. Wealth to heirs, nothing versus $2.1 million. And hey, 100 is the new 60. What if they live to 100? Here's where we get our numbers on cash flow. Don't do it of $1.6 million. Do it of $3.6 million. And I just want to show folks that was an age 55-year-old couple, individual. It works at 50. Obviously, it's going to work to a greater degree because we got more time. The person's younger. The cost of insurance is less. But Steve, this works for somebody who's 60. Look at our differential. About, that's still worth considering, $1.7 million, right?
Even at that age.
Even at 65.
So this, I'm assuming he's pretty healthy. And
well, as long as we've got somebody, and by the way, this is kind of interesting. The insurance doesn't need to be just on the individual. If we've got, I did this with a dentist from a long time ago who unfortunately just had prostate cancer, it can actually be on the spouse. So we can use either single life, either IRA, profit sharing plan owner or spouse, or in some cases, especially if we're doing this for estate planning, we can use a joint life policy. All right, so 65 and under, we can really make this thing sing for an income play.
But this is a good thing because I'm kind of shocked that 65, the age 65, the numbers still support it.
Yeah, I mean, it's $1.5 million of spendable income, I think, is still worth considering, right? That's a pretty big deal. Again, we have, if you want to do a deeper dive as to the, you know, granular on how these policies, these new indexed policies with participating loans work. We got about 13 videos that if you go to this website, you got to create a username and a password, do that, and an educated consumer is our best customer.
Well, don't forget to watch our next segment on alternative college funding, part 3 of our series on tax advantage income investing with indices. And keep in mind, before moving forward with any of the ideas on our show, always check with your tax consultant, legal counsel, or your financial advisor. You've been watching Steve Savant's Money, the name of the game.